Am I live?
Live.
All right, James, I got sound.
That sounds.
We got picture.
We got picture.
I keep an eye on the picture. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk pricing. The pricing workshop was sold out. So I got a ton of messages asking if you can join. You can't because it's sold out. But today, I'm going to give you a quick little breakdown of one of the most important formulas that you need to figure out your pricing for your salon. And what that is you need to know what your daily chair cost is. Like you have a salon, you have 4 chairs, 5 chairs, 10 chairs, 100 chairs, whatever that number is going to give you a floor. And from that floor, you're going to be able to figure out what the price your service is at, because it's that chair that really generates the income for your salon. Obviously, the stylist does, but each one of those chairs needs to be busy. Think of a restaurant with the tables. You have so many tables, which means you could serve so many different people, and you could base your revenue on how many tables you sat throughout the night. So this is just a way for you to gauge exactly what you should be pricing your services at for your location. One of the issues that a lot of people run into when they do their pricing is they base it on what they used to charge in their old salon. Personally, as a stylist, when you go off on your own, or you do like a Google search and you start looking at all the salons in the area and you're like, I'm going to be competitive and I'm going to price somewhere in the middle. When you price your services to be in the middle, that's where you go to die. You either got to be the least expensive and do volume, or you got to be the most expensive and deliver value and an amazing service. If you try and just be somewhere in the middle, you're going to be average. And honestly, it's not the way to price your services in your salon. So the formula is going to be this: your monthly rent divided by the number of chairs divided by working days per month. So if your rent's $4,000 and you have 6 chairs and you're open 24 days a month, the math is going to be $27.78. Now, I have that written in front of me. I'm not a math guru like that. That's just to cover the chair cost. So when you are figuring out your pricing, I also, in my calculator in the workshop, we're going to go over your expenses, your overhead, tie all of that stuff in. I want you to figure out how much is your front desk costing you, any support staff, get all of that information so you can get a very specific number on what that chair needs to produce every single day. Now, in addition to pricing out the menu, what I also incorporated with the workshop and what I teach in Level Up Academy is you want to also figure out what your commission is you're paying to the stylist. So if you are on a 40-60 split, 50-50 split, if you're on a sliding scale, whatever you're on, it's important that you factor that in as well, because now you have your overhead, revenues coming in for each chair, then you're giving a portion of that revenue away. Well, you're giving it to the person who earned it, which is the commission stylist. So if you don't know how to do that math or calculation, you may be losing money. So you need to have a floor price. In addition to your commission, you want to figure out what you want to profit from the salon. Do you want to work with a 10% profit, a 20, a 30% profit? And then you back in your profit to what your chair is going to cost you, plus what the commission you're giving away is. Then you put your profit on there. Then you're going to get the exact pricing for the service that the stylist or you is performing at that chair. If you have a nail salon, well, guess what? Each table functions like a chair. If you are a lash studio, guess what? Each one of the little rooms functions the same way. If you're a barber, it's the same formula. It does not matter what your situation is and what services you're providing. If it's rooms instead of chairs, that's how you do the math. This really isn't that hard to do once you break it down. You can go to nickmirabella.com and there's the pricing calculators right on that website. But I feel like I never did this when I first started. I just kind of priced out like probably majority of everyone else is doing. What does my owner say I should charge for a haircut? I'm a junior stylist. The senior one's charging $125. Let's throw Nick at $65. And then you move up in like $10 increments. It's fine. That can work to some degree. But when you're dealing with margins that are so slim in the salon, it's really difficult to gauge how profitable your business is going to be. So years ago, we didn't have booking software, credit card fees, all subscriptions for the Wi-Fi and everything else you have going on in the salon. Nowadays, your margins are so slim. You have to be aware of exactly what it's costing you to operate. This is the part of business and owning a hair salon that a lot of people get scared of. It's the numbers, it's math. It's the easiest part. Leadership is the hardest part. Trying to get a team to show up the right way for their own personal growth and their career path is hard enough alone. Then getting them all to show up for the salon's growth. Like these conversations are difficult. So leadership, like that's the challenge for a lot of people. Like, are you having stylists reach out to you every single week to join your team? Like these are real issues that once you get this fundamental pricing structure and the mathematics of that figured out, like it's simple. It's really easy. It's just literally this divided by that equals this. That's your floor price. Add in your profit you want to make, add in the commission you're giving, and then you start figuring out what the math is on that service. The other caveat to this that I think you need to be made aware of is why I'm so heavy with parts and labor. When you're pricing services out, especially in a salon that does a lot of color, that's really heavy in color, whether it's highlights, balayage, lived in color, whatever term you want to use. The way we do color nowadays is not the same that we did 30 years ago. 30 years ago, you sliced in foils, you weave them in, you used some bleach, you toned the hair, called it a day. You might have done a low light. Nowadays, it's a highlight, a low light, a root smudge, a tip out, a shadowed root. You're using Olaplex or some kind of bond builder. And the cost of product being used is astronomical compared to what it used to be. And if you're using a salon color, like anything that Salon Centric offers, you're getting robbed on a yearly basis because they're always raising their prices. And I guarantee you, if you squeeze out the tube, they're telling you it's 2 ounces, it's probably not even 2 ounces. So I would align yourself with a brand that will either give you a discount on color or work with you when you buy in volume, or at least not cheat you out of what's in that tube. So let me not regress. Let me go back to that because I just want to throw my dig at Salon Centric. So when it comes to your color, parts and labor is, I think, a very essential component to this because you're going to be even more dialed in. You're just weighing the color out on a per use basis for the client, and it's specific for their use case. That helps you figure out the pricing because now you don't have that variable mixed into the equation. It's like, this is my labor. This is what it costs me to operate my salon. And then this is what it costs to do that particular service, whether it's color, lashes, microblading, it doesn't matter. The chemicals are separate from the labor. Makes it so much easier. If you don't want to do that, then what you need to do is figure out what the cost is for the product being used on the client, but it's different for every client. So Nancy might have a ton of hair where Barbara has no hair. And so how you figure out the math in that? Where is it going to be fair for the client, for the stylist, if you're taking a service charge out? Not all heads are created equal. So you're going to be using a different amount of hair. Has different porosity. So if you've calculated in your magical math using ChatGPT that every client for a full highlight is going to be 50 grams of color and 20 grams of developer, I promise you, no one's using that exact measurement for every single client. So I would urge you to switch to parts and labor and figure out as fast as possible how to make that happen in your salon. One of the best ways is just reach out to me and I will help you with that. If you guys want, I have a whole breakdown on how to do parts and labor. I'll send it over to you. It's free. I don't gatekeep this. I think it's a very essential component to our success as owners in the pricing area. So James, we're going to jump into a quick Q&A because I have to actually do the workshop shortly. Do you, ladies and gentlemen, ask any questions that you have?
We got
James will bounce them off me. But real quick, as you're reading that, James, the formula is this to get an idea of the floor price for your specific location. Your rent divided by the number of chairs divided by the days you're open equals your chair per day. You have to be able to recoup that just to break even. From there, you're going to start adding in what commission you want to make, what commission you want to give to your stylist. I mean, what profit you want to make. So all that's really, really important. But that's your floor price to start with. Expenses divided by chairs, divided by days, divided by, or equals your price per chair. James.
Iconic Blonde Squad would love the parts of labor PDF. Wants to know where to get it.
DM me on Instagram.
We got Hotheads Crew. Nick, where can I find your content on YouTube?
Go to my bio and like my personal Instagram page. Click on the little links button up there, and then my YouTube channel is right in there. And guys, don't judge my YouTube. We go live. I'm not really fancy when it comes to editing the YouTube stuff. We are going to be taking YouTube seriously this year.
Well, no, because I always put in the chat to watch the replay of this episode.
Cool.
To go to YouTube.
Yeah, but get ready for like a really good YouTube channel. I'm really going to start being a professional on YouTube because I hate my YouTube channel right now.
We got Styles by Maria TX. Okay, so how do you handle it when a client says my last stylist only charged me $80? Like, girl, that's not my problem.
Great. Why are you not there anymore? That's great for her, your last stylist. Awesome. I don't do that. Is every single car you bought the same price? Is every single item you buy in your life the same price? No, you're buying better quality, first off. So is the price of a Toyota Corolla the same price as a Mercedes G-Wagon? If you want to drive a Toyota Corolla, there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's nothing probably wrong with the other stylist. But if you want to pull up to an event in a G-Wagon or a Rolls Royce, guess what? It's going to cost you more money. So what I'm giving you is hair that will reflect that of a Rolls Royce. And then if you don't want to pay for that, no worries. I still love you. I think you're great. Go to a Toyota Corolla and pull up in the event in that. We're not all created equal. So another thing I like to ask people is, do you not value yourself enough to pay this? Or you don't value me and you don't think I'm worth it? I just want to know where we're at here with this. All right, James.
We have Keep Up with Chris. Can you say the breakdown again on pricing?
Yeah. All right, guys. Breakdown one more time. I'm going to go more in depth in the workshop. I'm going to kick the workshop off again in 2 weeks. So if you want in, I'm teaching commission calculator, pricing calculator. It's like $100. Just you could jump in. You're going to get so much value from it. You're literally going to know exactly what you're doing commission-wise and pricing-wise. Here's the formula. It's the rent, or really the overhead, divided by the number of chairs, divided by the number of days you're open. That's how much your chair needs to make per day just to break even. That's it. Then from there, you got to figure out cost of product if you're not doing parts and labor, but it's going to be commission. So if you're, let's say, doing a $100 service and your cost per chair is $50, you give 50% commission on a $100 service. You're back at $50 again as the owner. It's a break-even amount for that chair. Guys, this is not the full workshop, by the way. I go a lot deeper. I wanted to give you a quick little lesson here because a lot of people couldn't join. It sold out in like 4 hours, the workshop. So that is the math. Expenses divided by number of chairs, divided by number of days you're open, because that's how you produce revenue in your salon. You can't produce it if you're closed. This is why I'm so big on being open 7 days a week. When you first open a location, if you're open 7 days a week, that number comes down even smaller. It's just more opportunities to bring in revenue. Like you pay your rent 7 days a week. Why not be open 7 days a week? And I have salons I own that aren't open 7 days a week right now. They used to be. Now they're not. We built people up. We don't need to be anymore because now each day is packed with clients. The thing that people get wrong is, oh, when I get busier, I'll add more days to my schedule. No, that's not how it works. You just keep your schedule wide open. And then as you get busy, you can peel days off because you're condensing all your clients to less days, which gives you more freedom. So as an owner, your job is to help your team make more money. And once they hit a certain revenue, there's only so many days in a week. Have them raise prices, condense their schedule, create another opportunity in your salon for another stylist who isn't as busy to pick up those days because that stylist is dialed in. Like let's say I got Jen on my team. She worked 3 days a week, do $1,500 a day, and she's bringing in $4,500 a week. She's cool. She's content. And then the other 4 days a week could be to somebody else. or they can share the other days where her station's at. The point of you being an owner is to coach your team and mentor your team and guide them in a career path where they have financial freedom and success in this career. And you can't do that with a broken pricing system, which is why I'm teaching this as the workshop, and I teach it in the Level Up Academy. James, we're going to do I got 2 more questions I got time for.
Okay, iconic blonde squad. What about part-time stylist chairs?
The chair's the same. So if someone's splitting the chair for that day, that chair needs to generate a certain amount of money for you as the owner. And if they're splitting the chair, you got to figure out what is your commission for that stylist, and then what is their pricing in regard to the profit you want to make. But part-time, if you have 10 part-time stylists and you have 5 chairs, it's good. It's no different than having 5 full-time stylists with 5 chairs.
The blowout bar ATL. Nick, do you think renters should price differently than commission stylists?
Let me think here. No, I think pricing is the same. You should price like an owner because you own that chair. You got to figure out, what do you want to profit? So you figure out your expense, which instead of being the whole salon's rent, it's your chair rent. You got to figure out, what is your cost of products. The same equation goes into what you do. Like you suite renters out there who show up at the suite 2 days a week, you're very special. Like, it blows my mind that you're paying $400 or $300 a week for a cubicle that you're going to show up for once or twice a week because now you want freedom. That's bananas to me. Like, I can't comprehend that. I would be there every single day. In fact, I was there every single day when I first opened my salon. I was there on Sunday. I was there on Monday. I was there on Tuesday. I was there on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was there every day. If a client needed me to come in, I would come in. If you were a nurse and you got off your shift at 4:00 in the morning, I would come in. Like, there's no boundaries when you're broke. Broke people set boundaries and never become the type of person that has the money to be able to apply those boundaries because you're broke and no one wants to come to you. Like, stop putting walls up and blocking business before you even have a business. Once you become an established stylist and you have demand, then you can start creating some friction with your schedule. But until then, I say keep it open. And if you're a parent or you have like a lot of other activities that you love to do, then go to your calendar, put in all your mom time, all your dad time, all the things that are important to you. Put that in your calendar first so you feel fulfilled in life. Then the rest of the white space can go to making money and building a career so you can actually do fun stuff with your family. All right, James, one more question.
Oh, we got time for one more. Okay. Let's see.
And if you guys are part of the workshop, we're going to be kicking it off in a little bit, so don't worry. Same link, same everything.
We got, how often should we be raising prices? Every 6 months, yearly?
How I like to raise prices personally is, depending on the stylist, it's color in the spring, cutting in the winter or fall, right? So you want to seesaw it up so they don't get crushed. Now, every year your color goes up, which is another reason why I like parts and labor. So as your products go up, you don't have to change your pricing because you're covering that with your products. So if your rent goes up every year, which most places it does, then I don't think raising your prices every single year is needed. I think 2 years is fine. And I think you could go color, cutting. And when you raise it substantial. How I do it is I like to raise things 20%. My VIP clients, I'll give them a 10% break. They still got raised 10%, but they hear 10% off for being VIP, loyalty, legacy, whatever you want to call it. That's always worked for me. If it doesn't work for you or you've heard somebody else teach a different way, do it their way. This is how I did it. And this is how I made a ton of money behind the chair as a stylist and how I grew my whole team. And how I don't need to do hair anymore. I retired from behind the chair. My salons run fine. They're profitable without me. So I think what I did worked. But you can listen to somebody else if that works for you. Like, there's a lot of ways to get to the end result. Every single year is a lot because a lot of clients don't come every couple weeks or every couple months anymore. So they may come to you once a year or twice a year. And if you're raising your prices twice a year, every time they come, it's another price increase. If they come once a year, every year it's going up. So you got to figure out what works for you. But if you're an owner, your rent goes up every year. So if you make it substantial and you raise your prices significantly, you could do it every 2 years because there's enough margin in there now because you raised your prices. Because like I said, the cost of doing business goes up every year. So as you reevaluate your numbers as an owner, you could take a look at this equation and see how far off you are from your desired profit. And then from there, you can raise your prices. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is a quick little peek at the pricing workshop we're going to be doing. Then for pricing, we're doing a commission and pricing workshop together. If you guys want information on that, go to nickmaribel.com, sign up for my emails, message me on Instagram. I'll send you the details. It's sold out in literally like 3 or 4 hours this past time. So if you want access, don't wait. Don't be that person that I email, like you wanted the link to join and then you just dragged your feet and now I had to refund you because it was sold out. Don't be that person. This is really good information. I think you need it. I don't think a lot of people are teaching how to do this and how to do it effectively. So hope this helped everyone. I'll see you later. Enjoy the rest of your day.